get ready to get wisdom, and with all you're getting, you're about to get some understanding as well. Please give a rousing welcome to Bishop Dale Bronner.
Wow. Wow. It's so great to be back home again. It really is. Wow. Wow, wow. You may be seated. I just have an incredible love for Pastor John and Elena. What incredible leaders God has blessed you with in this house. I love Epic. It just gives us a precursory look as to what heaven is going to look like. As it is in heaven, so it ought to be on the earth. So thank you guys for being a demonstration of the incredible diversity that heaven is. People from all nations, all ethnicities, all languages and tongues. It's so great to be able to see it. And I love the praise. My goodness, if we just went home after praise and worship, we'd have been blessed. And my goodness, even the discourse with the tithes and offering. I'm a bread lover. I got hungry just listening. My goodness, to the different sides. I love sourdough bread. I love white. I'm a bread lover. I could do without meat if I get bread. So my goodness, I know that I'm in the right house. You may not realize it, but the name Bethlehem, where Jesus was born, means house of bread. House of bread. And isn't it interesting? You remember when Ruth and Naomi, they were in Bethlehem and they had to leave Bethlehem because there was no bread in the house. It was a famine. And they had to leave the house of bread because there was no bread in the house. But that's not true here at Epic Church. There's bread in the house. Living bread that feeds our souls, that empowers us and strengthens us to be who and what God has called us to be. So this is such an incredible time to be alive. And I'll tell you, the harder that times get, the harder that we pray. The more we believe, the more that we continue, the more that we trust God like we've never trusted Him before. These are exciting times in which we live. I'm going to be talking today about blessed interruptions that come in your life. There are so many things that oftentimes come at inopportune times of your life. And it's not an accident, it's not a coincidence, it's sometimes just a blessed interruption. And I call it a blessed interruption because it means that God's hand is in it. God's hand is in it. So looking at Acts chapter 3 and verse 1 through 8 in the Modern English Version, notice there this passage of Scripture. Now Peter and John went up together to the temple at the 9th hour, the hour of prayer, and a lame man from birth was being carried, whom people placed daily at the gate of the temple called Beautiful to ask alms from those who entered the temple. And seeing Peter and John about to go into the temple, he asked for alms. Peter, gazing at him with John, and said, "Look at us." So he paid attention to them, expecting to receive something from them. And then Peter said, "I have no silver and gold, but I give you what I have. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk." And he took him by the right hand and raised him up, and immediately his feet and ankles were strengthened. And jumping up, he stood and walked and entered the temple with them, walking and jumping and praising God. Isn't it amazing that Peter and John were on their way to the temple at the hour of prayer? And they didn't recognize a man at the gate who needed prayer. And he's on his way to service, on his way to church. Peter and John on their way to worship God, and they were walking by their assignment. And it was a blessed interruption, because here is a beggar down here. And it is interesting. I'm so glad that Peter and John had Jesus on the inside of them. that they had something in their heart. Because most times when people see needy people, they shift their eyes away. But Peter and John intentionally, instead of looking away and acting as though they have on horse blinders, Peter and John didn't shift their eyes away from the needy man. They looked at the needy man and said, look at us. You know why? Because a lot of times when you find beggars out on the street, they're looking down. They look in the direction where their life already is. Don't look where you are, look where you're going. There is a reason why the windshield is so much bigger than the rear view. And most people can spend too much time in the rear view mirror. It's a little mirror. You glance in the rear view mirror, but you gaze out of the windshield. It's showing you your future ahead, where you're going. So look at where you are going. And so now they're telling the man, look up from the place where you are, because you have a tendency to move in the direction in which you look. And I would oftentimes write to people, and my closing words to them are so commonly, keep looking up. Keep looking up. Because I tell people I only have two positions in life. I'm either up or I'm getting up. I'm either up or I'm getting up. If you're down, listen, I'm on my way up. I'm on my way up because I'm going to look up out of this situation. I'm either up or I'm getting up. You ought to those are my two positions. My two positions. This man was in a down position, and they shifted his perspective. And if you, a good look up is a good hookup. I mean, if I can shift my focus, I shift my expectation. So Peter and John, instead of shifting the man out of their view, they bring the man into their mind, and they say, hey, look at us. Look me in the eyes. When you look a person in the eyes, you connect with their soul. When Peter and John looked at this man who's lame here, he's been brought here every day, and he said, look at us. He couldn't walk, but he could see. And he said, look at us. Do what you can do on the level where you are. If you can't walk up, look up. Just look up. He said, look at us. And when they were looking at him, it was their way of saying, I recognize the imago Dei within you, the image of God. Every human being, every beggar has the imago Dei. Every prostitute has the imago Dei. Every drug addict has the imago Dei. Every rebellious son or daughter has the imago Dei. They may not be acting like it, but the imago Dei is on the inside of them. The image of God. And so they were saying, hey, look on us. We recognize your humanity. We recognize the image of God on the inside of you, no matter where you are. And we have to train ourselves as believers in Jesus Christ to be able to see the God on the inside of people who are not acting like Christ at all. And you have to see it in them so that you call it out. One understanding of the word to bless does not mean to put something in a person. It means to let it out. So when the power of the prophetic comes and you receive a prophetic blessing, it's not putting something in you, it's releasing something out of you. And so you have to be able to look at sons and daughters who may not be acting very Christ-like. They may not be acting as though they are anointed and called and favored and blessed. But you look at them and call it out. Look on us is saying, I recognize you, is saying, I see you. There's so many people that just long just to be seen. Hagar, when she was running away from Sarah and Abraham because of the situation that had developed there, it was interesting how The Bible, had, in terms of how Abraham and Sarah interacted with her, they had never called the woman by her name. And the first time she was called by her name was when she was running and she's out in the wilderness and they've run out of food and water and she thinks that she's going to die. And the angel of the Lord looks at her and calls her Hagar. Calls her by her name, saying, I see you. It was the first time that she ever felt seen. And she named the place, she said, He is the God who sees me. Isn't it amazing how when your life is in pain, you feel as though you're not seen? There's something about pain, about rejection, about abandonment that can make you feel unseen. Maybe God, in His own divine wisdom, will plant rejected people along your path just so that it becomes a blessed interruption, because our lives are so incredibly busy. We're always on our way somewhere, doing something, checking emails, sending text messages, going backward and forward, and we oftentimes don't even see the very assignment. A friend of mine, he was leading, and one of his workers came in and just walked in and took his briefcase and came in and passed by everybody, didn't speak to a soul, went directly into his office. And the head person there walked in and walked into his office. He said, everything okay? He says, yes. He said, I've got a lot of work to do. So he said, I had to hurry to get to my work. I didn't want any distraction. And the head of the organization said, you just passed by your work. They're the people who work here. You didn't acknowledge not one of their presence. You just passed your work. The essence of the gospel is people. Ministry happens wherever there are people. And if you're passing by people who need the Jesus that we carry, we're walking by our work. And sometimes when we get so busy, God knows how to let a blessed interruption, it might come in the form of sickness, just to slow you down. You will either slow down or you'll break down. I commend your pastors for having the wisdom to be able to pull apart and go apart and rest a while, to refresh and to rebuild, because you must either slow down or you will break down. And so in that whole process, there's something that we come to see, and most people, if they're not sensitive to God, can walk away and miss the very assignment that God has assigned in their life. If you'll notice what Jesus said in Matthew chapter 25, notice here that then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, and inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you fed me. I was thirsty, you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me into your home. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you cared for me. I was in prison, and you visited me. And then these righteous ones will reply, Lord, when did we ever see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink, or a stranger and show you hospitality, or naked and give you clothing? When did we ever see you sick or in prison and visit you? And the king will say, I tell you the truth, when you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you were doing it to me. I know the people that need your help seem like an inconvenience, like an interruption, but maybe it's a blessed interruption of Jesus in disguise, to see if you will serve what he's already blessed you with. We serve hurting and broken humanity. When we do that, we're actually serving Jesus Christ. C.S. Lewis said that we must stop regarding unpleasant and unexpected things as interruptions of real life. He says the truth is that interruptions are real life. Have you ever noticed how when you have young children, they don't wait until you're finished with your stuff. Sometimes they'll be just fine until you get on the telephone. And now here they come. It's when you're trying to go through your mail and here they come. And listen, you better talk to them while they're open. See, that's an open window. And if you shun them at that time about the things that mean the world to them at that time, and it may seem like a little thing to you, but when you pay attention to those little things, when they get older, they'll trust you with the big things. And it never comes at an opportune time. You always have to inconvenience yourself to pay attention to little children. Because when they want something, they want it, and they want it now. And they are really hungry more for your attention. And sometimes they will wear you out. Mommy, can I have a cookie? Mommy, can I have a cookie? I told you no, you're not going to have it. You're going to eat your dinner first. Mommy, can I have a cookie? And they keep coming back with their presence. And we keep saying, stop interrupting me. It is their way of saying, notice me. I need attention. And if we don't give them attention positively, eventually they'll start seeking it negatively. They're just hungry for your attention. Even if they do something that is against the rules, if they have to break the law and be spanked, at least during the spanking, they're getting your undivided attention. You will be surprised what people who are love-starved will do for your attention if you'll just actually take a break from all of the busyness of our schedule and come there. I asked a Jewish rabbi once, I said, how is it that the Jews have been able to honor and maintain the Sabbath all of these years? And his response was, it is not the Jews who have maintained the Sabbath, it is the Sabbath that has maintained the Jews. And sometimes it is a Sabbath rest when you find yourself in serving people because you're serving Jesus. They're trying to rush into the building, into the temple, to pray when there was a prayer that was sitting out in front of the temple. And that's what we have to be willing to do, is just come to the temple and recognize when God is moving right in the midst. And it seemed inopportune, but it was a blessed interruption. I just want to pray that God will open your eyes so that you can see blessed interruptions. There's a difference between a demonic distraction and a blessed interruption. So when God is trying to get your attention to say, hey, I want to work through you for somebody's good. And notice, you remember Romans 8:28? And we know, not we think, not we hope. And we know that all things work together for the good of them that love God and who are the called according to his purpose. All things, not some things. It's the good things and the bad things, the positives and the negatives, the ups and the downs, in sickness and in health, in riches and in poverty. It's the good things and the bad things. God will take all of your ups and downs, your highs and your lows, work them all together for your good, but ultimately for his glory. It is for the glory of God to say, look at what the Lord has done. When God does things out of the good and the bad, it's for your good, it's for our good, but it's for his glory. When God delivers us, it's for his glory, but it's for our good. When he heals us, it's for his glory, but it's for our good. When he sets us free, it is for our good, but for his glory. And that's what God is about doing, and that's what he was doing in the life of this man that was sitting there begging at the gate called Beautiful. You don't ever know who God has planted along your way for you to help, just to see what you will do and how you will respond. Notice Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 1 and 2. Notice what it says here. Keep on loving each other as brothers and sisters. And don't forget to show hospitality to strangers, for some who have done this have entertained angels without realizing it. And sometimes the angel will be in a disguise. just to see how you'll treat them. And they may dress up like a beggar. They may dress up like somebody who's hurting, like somebody who's confused, like somebody who has not had a bath in several days. They might come to you in a form that you may not recognize, but it's interesting to note that while they were on their way to prayer, they didn't recognize that this man so desperately needed prayer. And one of the things about it, Peter and John had exactly what the man needed. He was asking for money, but you see, that would have only treated his symptom, but it didn't solve his problem. And sometimes they're asking for stuff to treat the symptom. What they needed was transformation. A transformed life. And the prayer, the power of God released through the power of prayer transformed that man's life. The money would have temporarily pacified him, but the prayer transformed him. The power of prayer can do what money cannot do. And so sometimes God just interrupts us. There's a law that's called Gilbert's Law. Here's what Gilbert's Law is. Gilbert's Law says that the highest problem with problem solving is that we don't truly understand the problem. Isn't that interesting? That's Gilbert's Law. We don't truly understand the problem. Charles Kettering said that a problem well defined is a problem half solved. And a lot of times we just don't truly understand the problem. Then there's another law that's called Kinlan's Law. Here's what Kinlan's Law says, that if you can write the problem down clearly, then the matter is half solved. If you can write your problem down clearly. You see, the beggar didn't clearly understand the source of his problem. That's why he was begging for money. Money can't fix a problem when you got a mindset issue. So they needed to change his perspective, because a good look up, your outlook will determine your outcome. They're trying to change his outlook. So he says, look on us, stop looking down. Stop looking at our hands, look at our eyes. It is the same way that God is. God is saying, stop looking at my hand asking me for stuff. When we look in his face, when we behold him, we'll know that we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And that's why God says, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray and seek my, not his, seek my, not his, they said, look on us, look at our face, not our hand. Because Peter and John said, look, baby, we ain't got no money. I ain't got no money. And sometimes you think that you can't help people because you may not have any money. But we who know Jesus, we've got something more valuable than money. We've got something that once you get this, it'll cause the resources. See, God is the source. If a resource closes, we have connection with the source. Can I teach you just a little bit of Aramaic? Aramaic is the language that Jesus spoke. I hope you know that Jesus didn't speak English. He didn't speak Spanish. He didn't speak Italian. He spoke Aramaic. That was his native tongue. There's a word in Aramaic language for prayer that is slotha. S-L-O-T-H-A, slotha. And a slotha means a trap. It is a trap. So when they pray, here is the whole idea. In that custom, in that part of the world, the word slotha, here's what the full concept of it means. Set your mind like a trap and wait patiently to catch the thoughts of God. Set your mind like a trap and wait patiently to catch the thoughts of God. Slotha. It is a depth of when you don't know what else to do. Get in the presence of God. Set your mind like a trap. He said, get open, get in a position to receive, because something is coming your way. And I want you to be in position, set your mind like a trap, and just know God's going to release a divine thought in you. Set your mind like a trap and wait patiently to catch the thoughts of God. When you really enter into prayer, that's why you can pray about something at nighttime and get in the bed, and when you wake up, you'll know what to do. And you don't exactly know at what time the answer was put on the inside of you. Has anybody ever prayed about something at night and in the morning time, you couldn't see it at night, you're frustrated, you're still wrestling and dealing with this thing, but when you get up in the morning, it's like, I know what I got to do now. And you couldn't tell anybody exactly what hour did you got it, but what happened, that prayer, that slotha at nighttime, set your mind, your spirit like a trap and waited patiently to catch the thoughts of God. And the Bible talks about in Job how while men's bodies lay on their beds, that he opens up their spirit, begins to commune with them. It's our way of prayer, just getting in and being quiet and still enough to experience slotha, to where we set our minds like a trap and wait patiently to catch the thoughts of God. Let me say this to you. One thought from God can change your life forever. Just one thought. One divine thought from God can change your life, can usher in the peace of God, because peace is a perspective. Peace is a perspective. So when God gives you a divine thought, now you have the mind of Christ because of the God thought that you caught in a posture of prayer. That's why prayer can calm your nerves down. Prayer can make it. That's why before you get ready to go out in the world, as a part of putting on the whole armor of God, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, your loins girded about with truth, your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, taking the shield of faith, the sword in the spirit. Above all, a part of that equipment, praying with all kinds of prayer, because that's where you catch a God thought. And one thought from God can change your life forever. Just one thought from God can change your life forever. Whatever it is that you're dealing with, whatever you're wrestling with, one thought. You posture yourself, position yourself, set your mind like a trap and say, Lord, I'm open. Here's your servant, Lord. Speak. It may not be like a thunderous kind of thing with the heavens open, but just set your mind like a trap and wait patiently to catch the thought of God. Because sometimes in the peace, God's kingdom is built in peace. And if you can just quiet down your mind, because you can make more noise with your mind than you can with your hands and your feet. And if you can quiet your spirit, set your mind, your heart, like a trap and wait patiently to catch the thoughts of God, something profound can happen. One thought from God can take you from living like a pauper into living like a king. One thought from God. And that's all that Peter and John did, because they had set their hearts. They were going to the temple, not at the time of preaching, but at the time of prayer. And as you approached the house of God, all of the temples back in that day were always built at an elevation. All of them were built at an elevation. You had to ascend into the house of the Lord. You always had to go up steps. And in their construction, the steps were built at uneven levels. They would go against our building codes that we have in America today. The building codes make it to where the steps have to be the same height. You know why? Because there's a kinetic sense that we have that allows us to be able to go up and down the steps without having to look at the steps, because it's the same height. But if, because of my kinetic sense, if they're all the same height, I can be looking up and still go up and down without tripping. But one step might have been 8 inches, the next one might have been 10, the next one may have been 13. And so if you don't look And the only reason that they were instructed to build the steps to the temple that way is because God did not want anybody to approach his house without thought. That every step on your way to see me, I want you to be intentional about how you approach me. Don't come to me any kind of way. You're coming in to see the King, and you get your mind right, your thoughts set in order. Begin to align your steps. Look at how you step, how you walk as you approach the King. Don't walk like you're just strutting down in front of somebody trying to impress them. God says, I want you to come with intentionality. So they did that intentionally. And they were built at an elevation, and every step was at a different elevation, so that you had to mindfully watch and take it, so that you could not casually or flippantly just waltz into the house of the Lord without thinking about it. You had to be intentional how you approached God's house, how you came to the throne of grace to obtain mercy, because our God is holy and he is sacred, and he is to be reverenced and feared and honored. And we reverence him and celebrate him, but we love him, and he gives us joy and peace when you honor the Lord. It's amazing. You remember how Moses was interrupted? He was interrupted by nothing but a burning bush. He was doing his duty. And all of a sudden, God set a bush on fire just to get his attention. Notice Exodus chapter 3, verse 1. One day Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock far into the wilderness and came to Sinai, the mountain of God. And there the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire from the middle of a bush. And Moses stared in amazement. And though the bush was engulfed in flame, it didn't burn up. This is amazing, Moses said to himself. Why isn't that bush burning up? I must go see it. And when the Lord saw Moses coming to take a closer look, God called to him from the middle of the bush, Moses, Moses. Here I am, Moses replied. Isn't it amazing that God would interrupt what Moses was doing? He set a bush on fire just to get his attention. What is God setting on fire in your life just to get your attention? Is it one of your children doing something crazy? Is there something going wrong with the car, with the house? Is he interrupting something on your job? Is he messing with your money? God knows how to get your attention. He knows. He knows the very thing that will disrupt your whole life and make you stop. This thing stopped Moses in his track because God set something on fire, but yet didn't let it become consumed by it. He had to let something out of the ordinary happen just to get Moses' attention. And God is doing certain things in your world just to get your attention. He'll disrupt your norm just to get your attention. He'll make something happen that scares you just to get your attention. He'll create a problem that you don't have the power to solve without his help just to get your attention. I call it a blessed interruption. And sometimes you don't even understand it. Sometimes it's a detour taking you because he's placed somebody in your path that you need to minister to, because you carry a grace and a deposit on the inside of you that somebody else needs. So sometimes it's a detour because he has placed people in your path that you are destined to minister to. And listen, you got to minister to others even while you're hurting yourself. He's not going to wait until everything is honky-dory and totally perfect in your life. You got to minister while you're hurting. And you'll become what I would call a wounded healer. That while I'm wounded myself, the power of God is flowing through and bringing life and health to somebody else. So he wants to just touch you and use you even while you're hurting. So sometimes he'll send you on a detour. Other times you'll have delays. And the delay is sometimes so that it keeps you out of an accident. You don't know why God will let you misplace your phone, your keys, your pocketbook. And it takes you some extra time. And maybe there was something in the journey, and God's divine providential hand is preventing an accident, keeping your life from coming into calamity. And just through the divine delay, don't let a divine delay be turned into a devilish disappointment. Just understand that there are blessed interruptions. It's like, Lord, I see you. I see you. I didn't understand why I couldn't find my keys, but now I've got it. And sometimes he was just timing it just for you to be able to meet up with the very person that you carried something on the inside of you to be able to minister to them. Or he's planted somebody on your journey that's got something for you that will make your baby leap. And it'll be the very answer that you've been waiting on. So either you carry something for them or they carry something for you. And God has to cause delays so that your schedules are synchronized for you to be able to meet at the right place at the right time for the divine to happen. And it is a blessed interruption. May I just tell you that the woman to whom I'm married to, I'm in my 41st year of marriage. And I've got 5 children, I've got 18 grandchildren, and 2 more on the way that'll be here this year. But let me tell you how it all began. It began with a blessed interruption. My wife was 14, I was 16. I've always been into younger women. And we went to the same school. I had never seen her before. And all of a sudden, one day, our lockers were near each other. She trips over her friend's foot and falls at my feet. And here she was. I'm seeing her for the very first time in the flesh, lying at my feet. She tripped. It was a blessed interruption. But when she looked up and saw 6'2" of strapping handsomeness, I tell people that's what tripped her the first time. Her knees got weak. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But here, this gorgeous woman that I may not have had the nerve to even approach her, God dropped her at my feet. She was exactly what I needed, and I was exactly who she needed. And it was a blessed interruption. She tripped. And you don't realize that sometimes while you tripping, God is still blessing. I just came to let you know that while things might be upsetting you and you're worried and wondering, God, what are you doing in my life? And why is this happening? Why me? Why now? And when challenges come to you, for which you do not feel equipped and prepared, and you feel like, Lord, this is an inopportune time, and you want to reason with God, every time that I have attempted to reason with God, God shut me down with 4 words. And I could not have a recourse to them. When I didn't know, when I was saying, God, when, why you let this happen? God, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? These 4 words shut me down. Sometimes God can say more through a question than a statement. And every time my mind has questioned, he shut me down with a 4-word question. And he never shouted it. He always whispers it. Do you trust me? Do you trust me? Do you trust me? I know it looks like everything is about to fall apart. But God is saying, do you trust me? Do you trust me? Do you trust me? I don't know what you're dealing with. But whatever it is, if you trust him, it will all work out. And when your doubts are screaming, remember those 4 words. Do you trust me? Do you trust God? Do you trust Jesus? Do you trust him? Bow your heads. If you're in this place, you're under the sound of my voice and you realize something needs to change. I just want you to know this, that God always calls us out of sin. He calls us out of darkness into the marvelous light. But it's really more than calling you out of something. God doesn't merely call you out. The heart of God is to call you back to him. And some of you have strayed, some of you fallen, and you feel like you can't get up. And you're saying, God, I need your help. Lord, I've fallen, I've missed the mark, I have sinned. While heads are bowed and eyes are closed, if you're in that place and you said, I know that I need to get back in right position with God. Lord, you know, sometimes when I have questioned and feared and let anxiety overtake me, Lord, I trust you. While heads are bowed and eyes are closed, if that's you and you realize that you need to trust God again, to submit your life to him, just indicate that just by slipping one hand up, just by slipping one hand up to say, Lord, I need you. Yes, thank 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 you. We see those hands. Yes. I want everyone to just pray this simple prayer with me. Dear Lord Jesus, I ask you to come into my life. I have missed the mark, but I trust you with my whole life and everything that I have. Thank you for sending Jesus to die for me on the cross, that I might have a right to the tree of life. I give myself fully to you. Use me for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.